Widow? What's going on? Where am I?
You're in a safe place. You've been out for about 20 minutes.
Fury? What's going on here? Where have you been all this time? What's the Black Widow doing here? And where is here?
My personal safe house. One of the ones that S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't know about. As to what's going on, I'm going to show you. This is a Skrull. A shape-shifting alien that can take the appearance of anyone. They're invading Earth. It's already started.
Stop. Just back up. Start at the beginning. Where did this thing come from?
Space.
Cute.
It was actually because of you Avengers that we found out about the Skrull in the first place. Hawkeye decided to go after the Black Widow against orders. He tracked her to Hydra Island. He didn't know she was working undercover for me at the time. But while the Avengers were messing up months of work, Mockingbird took down Madam Viper.
When Viper hit the ground, I was gonna go back to help your team. But then I saw it. Viper changed, right in front of me. She changed into this.
And then Mockingbird did the single most sensible thing that any agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. has ever done. She kept it quiet and brought it to me.
So, if one of these things got inside Hydra...
At that point, I realized that anyone, anywhere, could be a Skrull.
It doesn't make sense. How do you know this? How do you even know this is Skrull? I'm assuming this one isn't talking.
Pull this off of it. Some kind of comm device. It's fried, but we've been able to get some data from it. A bunch of hissing, actually. But the word Skrull shows up a lot. We've been able to determine that Viper received communications from 2 locations. One of them was the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier. And the other...
I've got to get back to my team.
Tony, the other communication came from your mansion. The Avengers have been infiltrated.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a new, exciting, extraordinary episode of Chipper and Multiverse with your hosts, the Emperor of the Skrulls, Carl Charles, and
the man who wants to embrace the change, CY Chung.
And today, we're doing another comic book review, and we are doing the... I can't remember the year it came out, which is pretty bad. I think it's 2007...
No. Civil War is 2007.
Oh, so this is...
I think it's 2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
Or
No, it's
maybe
2008, because Siege is 2009, that's next. Yeah,
okay.
Sorry. Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
A Brian Michael Bendis joint, drawn by Luan... What's his name? Oh,
Francis Lionel Yu.
That's it, Francis Lionel Yu on the art.
Yeah.
This is just after Civil War. Well, it's a year after Civil War, I believe.
Well, okay, it's a year in real life after Civil War, which means, I don't know about comic book time, maybe a couple of months after. They don't say, though, how long roughly after Civil War. They just point out it's after Civil War.
Yeah. So, to set up sort of the Marvel Universe at this point...
Oh, hold on. Just before we go into the actual story.
Yeah.
Let's just speak about the... Like, okay, so it's quite a fast-paced story, right? I find.
Yeah.
I was moving through these 8 issues really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the art as well on it. On occasion, there's a little bit of cheesecake, but you know, it's not like it's a major deal or nothing like that. You know.
No.
Sometimes you got Sometimes you got Spider-Man just standing there being sexy for no reason. It's like, all right, okay, yeah, all right, whatever. You know, not necessarily just Spider-Man, but you know, other characters.
Other characters.
Just like, yeah. But you're like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. You know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I don't know how long the time frame the actual event's supposed to take place, because really it is a small event.
Yeah, I think it's like a couple of days.
No, even if that, I think it seems like maybe one afternoon. because it starts
I'll
in
give it
daytime,
that,
it still ends in daytime. I'm like, it took 8 issues, like 8 months in real life, for a story that probably was about half an hour. Though I'm probably or an hour or something like that. Just my reading time, I think, reading all of this was the exact same time it took for the actual events to unfold. Maybe. The most real-time comic book event there is.
Yeah, literally. It's like other ones, they sort of spanned out for ages, like day-wise in their timeline. But this is like, oh, boom, 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 boom. That's happened. You're like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool, I guess. Right.
Yeah. Well, look. As we know, I mean, I've never read a Bendis story that doesn't run very breezy. That you can just go and start reading it, and you're, oh yeah. And sometimes not a lot of stuff happens, but the dialogue and the character moments carry it through, and you're like, you know what? It's still fun.
Yeah.
So set me up because this is the first time I've read it, and I guess you read it when it came out.
I read it I've read it backwards because I read Siege and stuff because that's afterwards that sort of ends this whole Civil War to Siege run, New Avengers stuff.
Yep.
So I read that first. So I went back and read this.
Yep.
And all the tie-ins to it as well.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I just read the main 6 issues. You're saying that because there's a whole crap load of tie-ins.
Yeah.
Which probably make the story much more easier to digest in certain ways. What I mean is it fills you in on certain gaps. This is just all action.
Yeah, because
right.
You can still enjoy the event and not read the mini the tie-ins, but the tie-ins do add a lot. You're like, oh, okay, that explains certain things.
I'm reading through this. I'm like, okay, this is this, this is that, and that is that, and okay, right.
Because like other events, certain things happen. Like I have no idea why this is happening, and then you have to read the tie-ins. But this one and a lot of Bendis' stuff, you don't need to sort of read the tie-ins to get the gist of what's going on.
Yeah, so just to help set it up for you as well.
Yep.
Just after Civil War, so that means Thor has come and Thor has come back to Earth as well.
Yes, after Ragnarok. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So as far as I knew, that's where that was happening. Yeah. And then Elektra got unveiled as a scroll.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if this is the same Elektra where the street team of the Secret Avengers was fighting again with the hand, and Luke Cage kicked her in the lady parts.
I'm not. It could be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think how many skirmishes that Luke Cage had with Elektra?
Yeah.
So,
I don't think a lot.
Well, that's the thing. It could be a lot or little, but it's like, well, if that is from that scene to this scene, at least that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Except that means clearly Matt Murdock's been with a Skrull Elektra. Well, look, the gimmick is for these Skrulls, somehow no one can tell that they're Skrulls.
Yeah, conveniently.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I'll let that slide, whatever. You got to get the story moving, whatever. But it's just like, so everyone how they invade was basically to shapeshift themselves so well that no one could tell who was who.
Yeah.
Right? Whether that, I mean, it's just like, okay, did you set the story up from the very beginning with these particular players to be the Skrulls? Or are you trying to rework the frame of this story, and by making it like no one can tell anyone apart, I can say whoever I want is whatever, and then no one else can deny it. Except that I think there are problems, because Jessica Drew lost her powers. When they get her powers back, came back with powers, and they said that was a Skrull Jessica Drew. And then it's like, well, did the real Jessica Drew go and lose her powers and come back, or what was what?
Yeah, it is a bit of a... Certain characters.
I think she went to the hand, right, to get her powers back or something like that. Yeah. But you're telling me those hands weren't the hands; they were Skrulls then, because the Skrull she come out as.
But it depends actually, because when she got swapped out, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. But that's the state. That's as far as I know from it. Yeah. You're saying so. Yourself, just gave a little bit of backstory, and is that all you knew as well from this point?
Yes. No. Okay. When I went back years ago, I was actually I went back and read Bendis' New Avengers.
Yeah.
And there was sort of an early hint to someone being a Skrull.
I will say this, right? I was collecting some Marvel titles, and I don't think a lot of them had only the titles that Bendis seemed to be writing.
Yeah.
Had anything to do with this, and this is self-contained enough that you don't have like nothing else interferes with it.
Yeah.
Not like sometimes when you have DC have a crossover, like a Crisis crossover, everything kind of links across to it.
But it did actually because during this they had, what was it, the Avengers Initiative or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Was it Initiative? That tied into this slightly with Hank Pym because he's a Skrull and he was a part of that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only other title that proper tied in. Others made like little hints, but they weren't proper connected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Go.
So yes, I was saying little brief backstory to what was going on in the Marvel Universe before the Secret Invasion. Like we said, Civil War happened. So we got the new Avengers and the Avengers were two separate teams. Like the new Avengers were Luke Cage, Spider-Man, Iron Fist, Wolverine, Ronan.
Yeah. Now, let me just point out, if anyone was going to be a Skrull, I would have said Wolverine right away, because even they point out in one story, right?
Yeah.
Wolverine's on so many different teams. How can one man be so many different teams?
Yeah.
And they're like, because you're on the X-Men, you're in your own series. They didn't say your own series, but you do your own adventures. Yeah. You're in the Avengers. You're in some other thing that was going on.
Yeah.
X-Force even, right? Of all people, you could be a Skrull, and I think they just like popped it off after that. But they'll just make a little joke to the winking at the audience.
Like wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
It's like how's Batman on every DC team.
Yeah. So Batman's he's got his own comic. He's got Batman comic. He's got Detective Comics. He's got Batman the Outsiders whenever that happens.
Yeah.
The Justice League.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we have the Avengers, which is Iron Man, Miss Marvel, Wonder Man, Black Widow, all the like legit ones who signed up to the 52 state initiative
from the Civil War. Yeah.
From the Civil War. Yeah. And just before this, the two teams had a run-in, and Jessica Drew got revealed that she was a Skrull, but I think only one person saw it. I think it might have been Wolverine.
Yeah.
And then they got back from the mission, and this is when Tony Stark finds Elektra's body as a Skrull. So, yeah. And during this time, Captain America's dead, as we know, but he's actually Bucky now.
Yeah.
Which kind of spoiled something later on, but I think at this point he was actually Captain America in the comics, wasn't he?
Well, he
in his comic anyway.
He made his appearance as Captain America later on in the series, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, but why isn't he here right now? Like, why wasn't he part of the actual story until
no,
the very end? That would have made more sense for him to be. But then again, like you say, he might have been Captain America at that point, and they had to wait for the publishing timeline to actually officially establish Captain America.
Yeah. I think, if I remember correctly, he might have been Captain America at this point, but he wasn't a part of any team because no one knew who he was and didn't trust him.
Could be true.
Yeah.
So all the stuff that you just recapped before the actual event, right?
Yep.
They should have just done like an issue 0 or something like that to like actually say, well, this is what's got us to this point. Like back with all the stuff that you told me.
Yeah,
just now.
Basically should have, but
they
didn't for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So should we start I'll start talking about the actual thing. So, as I said just a minute ago, issue 1 is basically a set up issue for the event. It opens with Tony Stark calling Reed Richards and Hank Pym saying, we have a problem. I believe the Skrulls have invaded our planet. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? It's like, well, clearly, here's a scroll dead body on my table. Don't know how none of us could pick it up because my scanners in my suit can, pick up anything really because plot armor or whatever.
Yeah. Plot convenience, but yeah.
And then like, oh, so how long they've been here? And Tony's like, I don't know, but we got to be careful with.
We don't know because the plot doesn't allow us to know.
Yeah, basically. So then somehow Jessica Drew is eavesdropping, and she calls up the other Avengers saying, something weird's going on. You guys might want to check it out. They're like, okay. So this is where you kind of think that she's a spy for the secret / new Avengers.
Yeah.
But
so
while this was going on,
by the way, I thought that was kind of a neat cover because you distracted. You think she's having a secret.
Yeah.
That's one thing, but no, that's actually another thing, and it's quite smart because it's like, well, obviously there is something going on. Yeah. It's not the obvious thing that you're thinking of.
Yeah. And then so then the sword, which is like the space version of SHIELD.
Sentinel World Observation and Research Department, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. They see a spaceship crash into the Savage Land, so everyone gets like, oh no, something bad's happening. No.
Yeah.
And I'm going to refer to Tony Stark's Avengers, the Mighty Avengers.
Yeah.
And the street level Avengers as the New Avengers.
Yeah, because that's what the official books were.
Yeah. So the Mighty Avengers are gonna like, okay, we need to get there, see what's going on.
Yeah.
But swerve! The New Avengers have stolen the Quinjet and they've made their own way to the Savage Land to get there before them.
Yes.
I can't actually remember what the reason why they want to get there first. It's not really explained.
Well, it's because Jessica Drew told them something was up and for them to go there, right?
Yeah, but it's like, what do they gain from getting there first?
Exactly.
I mean, that's the one bit I was like...
No, but that's exactly what it is. It's like, yeah, something's up, go there. Why? Because I told you something's up.
Yeah, you just get there before Tony, like, okay, I guess. Yeah, so they were there, and... You see Dum Dum Dugan. Well, sorry, Dum Dum Dugan's on the sword spaceship thing.
Yeah.
And Jarvis is in the Avengers Tower, and Sue Storm's walking into the Baxter building.
Yeah.
And he'll say "for his love," and then like Dugan blows up the space center.
Yeah.
Jarvis unleashes a virus into the Stark Tech mainframe, and Sue Richard blows up one half of the Baxter building.
Well,
it's not really blown up. It's like sucked into a dimension or something. It's weird.
She basically just walks to the controls and does something, and then whatever. But who knows exactly what they have in the contraption in the Baxter building that do whatever, right? But she does what she does.
Yeah, and this basically kicks off the invasion. And why this is also going on, a scroll, no, spoiler, Captain Marvel, the man Captain Marvel, remember this is back in 2008, where there was Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel, like Carol Danvers is Miss Marvel at the moment.
Yeah, which they pretend doesn't happen anymore. But anyway, he attacks Thunderbolt Mountain, and someone has opened up the cube prison so all the prisoners can get out and do what they're doing. And Reed and Hank are still at the laboratory looking at the scroll body, and Reed's like, this is amazing. I don't know how we couldn't clock on that these are the scrolls. Yeah. And then Hank's like, well, you don't know who are scrolls. He says something like that. I can't remember what he actually said.
Nice, wink.
Then he shoots Reed in the head, and he turns all rubbery and stuff. And you're like, oh, he's a scroll as well.
Yeah. And I have to give it to the logic, by the way, that as well as characters, but in the writing as well, they had to take one of the smartest players off the board right away that has had that interaction with the scrolls before.
Yeah.
And even if they'll plot convenience, why he can't recognize it doesn't mean that he can't do research to actually work out how they are.
And that's cool that they took him off the board straight away, which is clever. And then we're back on the Savage Land, and both the Avenger teams are there. And like, why are you guys here? No, why are you here? We were here first. Shenanigans. And then Wolverine and I can't remember who else get to the actual crash ship first. They're about to open it.
I think it's Luke Cage, right?
I think it's Luke Cage. And then the ship opens up itself.
Yeah.
Wait, no, opens up itself, and then I want to say, quote unquote, time displayed heroes come out, and they're like, "What are you guys doing here?"
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Well, but what?"
Yeah. So the time displaced heroes being from various eras of these heroes' existence, because I don't think all the costumes line up to exactly the timelines that. But then you would have thought if they all got there, and are they just saying that some of them appeared there before other people appeared there, and they've just been put stasis, or what?
Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to imply.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, this is weird. Yeah. And the issue ends, basically. So that's issue 1.
Well,
the issue probably ends
off.
with
Yeah.
Hank revealing that he's a Skrull.
Yeah.
So far, so good, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because obviously the first issue was to build to the second issue where the fight was going to happen. At least they get left in a good cliffhanger.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, I need to read more. So yeah, and then issue 2 starts back in the Savage Land where the the present day heroes and the older days, that's a silly way to say, the past heroes are like having a showdown like, hey, what are these guys doing here? This must be some trick. And
no one, by the way, just goes, yo, maybe we should speak to each other because we're all heroes, right? Maybe we're on the same side. No.
Yeah.
You look like me, but I'm me. Therefore, you must be
bad.
Yeah.
You must be some magic or whatever. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I think even Emma Frost was like, telepathically, blah blah blah, whatever. No, just fight these people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what they said to her.
So I know someone goes, that can't be Cap because Cap's dead and so's Thor.
Yeah, I think that's a run-in probably. Run-in / Hawkeye, right?
Yeah. And then they all have their little trying to justify that they're real or not.
Yeah.
Moment.
Except, and I believe Tony Stark can't engage in anything because of the Stark Tech virus that's in his armor.
Yeah.
And so Miss Marvel has to remove him from the battlefield. So once again, they took another smart player off the board because he could have detected them with something. And it's like, okay, right, the 2 guys that can do something are no longer there to be able to do something.
Yeah.
And Hank Pym also can't do anything because he's actually a Skrull. Yeah. So nice play on them. Yeah.
Like, okay, I thought ahead.
Where is Black Panther and all the other smart people, but where,
Well, I think this is when Black Panther was still like staying to himself, sort of. He has a moments where he's.
And then Professor X is probably dead at this point, right?
I believe so. Yeah. One of his main times of dying. Yeah.
yeah. I was just saying.
Yeah.
The people they dealt with, and the people that went around to be dealt with just conveniently weren't part of the story, but for some other reasons. Like, okay, fine.
Fair enough.
Fine.
One bit I did like about this sort of scene is where all the heroes are trying to justify it, like, oh, maybe it is them or whatever, and Ares just like, no, this is a trap. We just need to like fight these people, get this over and done with. Yeah. And the others are like trying to justify it, like, no, but maybe it could be. I don't know. And Ares like, no, dude. Let's just fight him, kill him, and move on.
There was a funny thing with Spider-Man where he's mouthing off to himself, and then he goes, "Am I this really annoying?" And he says, "Yes." And then he goes, "I know." I was
like, oh, this is fun. So then the fight kicks off. They all start fighting, of course. But while the fight is going on, Carol Danvers is like, "Tony, I need to get you out of here. I'm going to take you somewhere." And Tony's like, "All right, take me to the old mutate Citadel. I'm pretty sure they've got technology there that I can use to sort myself out."
Yeah.
So that's going on. And then another person they get off the board pretty quick because of how powerful they are. Sentry, which I thought was clever how they did that. Where he's fighting Vision, well, who he thinks is Vision, and then the Void comes down and starts saying like, you're a loser, you know, it's because everyone's gonna die sort of thing. So he goes
if I
nuts.
take over, you're gonna be whatever, and just breaks his spirit.
Yeah, so he's like, flies off. So again, it took him...
that's right. That's the best way I can describe it. He got punked out and he screamed and ran.
Yeah, so again, it's a good way to take off someone who's super powered out of the equation because you don't see him again. You always see him later on, but he doesn't do anything. Yeah. So then, they keep fighting, and then just in the middle of fight, a huge T-Rex comes out and sort of scatters everyone. And from the T-Rex attack, they all get like separated off into different little parts of the Savage Land. And then Wolverine and Luke Cage are the first people to find each other, and they find the dead body of a Skrull, which is the Spider-Man Skrull, and they're like, oh.
Well, so okay, Luke Cage and Wolverine find each other, and they're like, well, you could, and they're like gonna have a showdown or something like that, and Luke Cage is like, I got unbreakable skin, and Wolverine's like, I got unbreakable skeleton, so let's rock. No, they didn't actually say that. Got to that point, right? And then they look to the side and just see, the body of the dead Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, hold on a minute. By this logic, right? Does that mean all the past heroes are Skrulls? Maybe.
You would think that, innit?
Yeah.
But no, but what throws them off though is the next bit, because they see Hawkeye, the Skrull Hawkeye with Mockingbird.
Yeah. And
she hadn't changed back, so like, hey, you could be a Skrull. So Wolverine's about to kill her, and then Ronan, who's sitting in a tree with his arrows, like, don't
just
you
sniping
dare,
everybody
Wolverine.
during the battle, by the way.
Yeah. And it's like, don't you dare, Wolverine. I know that's her. So he questions her and asks her something only that she would know.
Yeah.
And it's quite a heart-to-heart moment. It's like, October 12th, because that's what I had a miscarriage, and that's when our child would have been born. Only she would have known that. So Hawkeye's convinced that she is who she says she is.
And she also says Captain America must be real because he helped us navigate back to Earth.
Yeah.
He was the one that helped us get back to Earth. So I was like, okay.
Okay, sure, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah.
So then,
which by the way, would the way they play certain things, right? That because Captain America's so out of character in Civil War, I could believe that this Captain America is the real deal over that one.
Yeah.
If they were to play if it turned out that.
Yeah.
But then they'd have a massive problem when they actually collect Civil War in graphic novel form or whatever, right? They got to explain that actually this is a Skrull Captain America, not the real deal Captain America. And then you're like, oh, okay.
And what was it? I was just going to say something about that, and now I forgot what I was going to say.
You might have been also going to be saying about Tony Stark as well. But we'll have to get to that later because there's a point where we'll have to point out the same thing with him.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that. And then we go back to Manhattan, and we see a Skrull ship invading Manhattan, and the new Avengers, the young Avengers are there, and like, maybe we should suit up and help because this seems like something bad's gonna happen.
I think it's this also when the entire underbelly of the criminal empires go, we might be able to.
Oh, no, that's later on.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, issue 2 ends with the Skrulls ship sending down lots of Skrull soldiers who are basically an amalgamate. What's the word when there's two things put into one? Amalgamated heroes, but as Skrulls. So you got like Cyclops, Wolverine, and Black Bolt, Doctor Strange. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Some funky combinations. Yeah.
So that's the end of issue 2. Again, it was an alright issue.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're fast paced and I don't want to say they're harmless, but they're quite fun and they move quickly.
Yeah, and it plants seeds for certain things. And then issue 3 starts with Maria Hill trying to get the sunken helicarrier working again, but obviously because of what the Skrulls have done, nothing works.
Yeah, because they've enacted their master plan of cutting off. I want to say communications, but crippling the services that can
maybe stop them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then she goes topside to sort of find out where they are, which is weird because you're on the sea and there's no nothing to tell you where you are, but whatever. And then she sees,
especially by the way, as it's daytime, you can say allow for nighttime. Maybe she can use the stars or whatever, right? But definitely daytime, you can't see none of that. No. Unless you're going to tell me where exactly the sun is and coordinate to and work out a sundial. Oh, well, yeah.
Yes. So then she's on the deck and then she sees Jarvis. She's like, what is the Avengers butler doing here?
Yes.
And he's like, oh, I'm here for you to surrender. And she's like, what? That makes no sense. How are you going to surrender to who? Who are you? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then we're back at Thunderbolt Mountain where we see Matt Gorgon Venom getting thrown from the mountain. And then we see Captain Marvel holding... I don't know who that villain is. I want to say Plunder, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Is it Plunder or the Swordman? I don't know. And Norman Osborn's like, hey, I'm not exactly sure who you're dressed up as, but my name's Norman Osborn, and let me introduce myself. Yeah. Let's have a drink. And
I'm the, these are Thunderbolts. I'm the leader of the Thunderbolts right now, and I've got all this good publicity, Lex Luthor style. Let me use my words of wisdom to kind of quell the situation.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is leading to something. Yeah. And then we're back at Camp Hamilton, one of the training bases for the Avenger Initiative project, and the troops are getting gathered to go and fight the Skrulls, and this is where we see more of Hank Pym, Yellow Jacket, planting seeds of deception between the recruits and stuff. Also, at this point, Cassie Lang, aka Stature, has left the Young Avengers to be a part of the initiative because she's a snitch.
Yeah. No explanation needed. Even though there was actually proper, but yeah.
And then we're back at Times Square with Young Avengers are fighting off a army of Skrulls.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if this was actually Vision or someone else, but apparently this is Vision. Didn't know.
Even though Vision dealt with Sentry earlier, in the Savage Land. So I was like, huh? Is Vision in two places? It was one of those Visions of Skrull.
Yeah, Vision on the Savage Land scroll. But at this point in the comics, I didn't know Vision was alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay. Forgot about that.
Well, you know what? Not only was he alive, he was alive twice.
Yeah. So they're fighting the Skrulls and like, oh no, I don't know if we can, do this. There's a lot of them. So, Skrull, what's his name? Skrulk? Yeah. He tries to talk to them. He's like, because he's half Skrull. He's like, hey, brothers.
Oh, you mean, what's his name?
Teddy Wig? No.
Yeah, no, but his name was not Skrulk, was it?
Yeah, Skrulk.
Hulkling.
Oh, Hulkling. Yeah, where I get Skrulk from? Yeah, Hulkling. He's like, yeah, talk to me.
It's funny. It's funny actually. I'm not sure if you read the story, one of the first Young Avengers stories where they sent the Super Skrull to find him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he turned out to be the Prince of the Skrulls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they Skrulls wanted him back to sit on the throne. And he eventually went with them, but it turned out him and Super Skrull had a little pact where Super Skrull pretended to be him, and they're like, yeah, okay, that's cool, right? We tricked them all along. I didn't want to be there. He wanted to be the lead anyway, so we kind of came up with something.
Okay.
He would have been, Super Skrull was being good for that particular Super Skrull. I know it was the Super Skrull, but it was a Super Skrull.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it leads here, and then he tries to say that he's the Skrull Prince or whatever, and they don't care because they're like, how can you be the Skrull Prince if the Skrull Prince was with us? Shut up.
I think at this point that
he sabotaged himself accidentally.
And I think this is where they find out that he's like half Kree in it, and they're like, "Ew, you're a halfling."
Ooh, Kree.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So they're getting battered, and then the initiative turn up and try to help. I'm saying that usually because they're not that great.
Oh, look, like, as everything in this comic book, because it's all action. No matter what you do, it's gonna be a fight.
Yeah. So then we're back at the Savage Land, and Jessica Drew's just walking around, trying to be sexy for some weird reason.
Well, no, okay. She's drawn sexy.
Yeah.
She's trying to be sultry to seduce Tony, but
oh no, it's before this. Before that, this is when Echo's like, "Hey, it's me, Jessica. I'm not a Skrull," and she's like, "I know." So she kind of shows her hand that she's not a Skrull.
Yeah.
And then it looks like she kills her, but she kills Echo, but she doesn't.
She disables her somehow.
Yeah, because she grabs her by the neck and then she throws her, and you hear a crack. Like, oh, did she break her neck?
I'm assuming she hit the tree branches.
Yes, yeah, so I thought afterwards, like, because you see it later on. Sorry, spoiler.
But yeah, she slinks over to Tony Stark in the cave.
Yeah.
She tries to, and this is quite genius, actually, I thought. Instead of trying to fight him or kill him while he's vulnerable and stuff like that, she's like, "Oh, Tony, do you remember you are the Skrull commander?
Yeah.
Right? You're the like some sort of Skrull leader, and you are like, you know, my underling, my love or whatever, right?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, this is one way to do it."
Yeah.
Right? And Tony Stark having a bit of issues himself, right?
Yeah.
And this is where you're like, so Tony Stark from Civil War, right? I could believe he might be a Skrull if this is the behavior that is enacting, and if it is, it's quite genius. I don't know why, by the way, she was trying to play my games with him.
Yeah.
If it was, but because I was like, is there something I missed? Right? Is he having some mental issues due to the stuff he was doing in Civil War, or is there just a character thing that, you know? But whatever, right? I was like, why are you aiming for him if there's not something that you're trying to take advantage of? Yeah. But I thought it was clever how she tried to avoid the fight and tried to make him think that he is who he's not. He wasn't.
Yeah.
Why she did it though, it was a bit odd because I was like, there's surely got to be something.
Because I think she got, and if I remember correctly, in like Mighty Avengers, I think she kind of was laying seeds in that as well to make him think that he was Skrull.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is like you were saying. This is where I was saying if there was an issue 0 to explain this, but then again, if you point it out, then it starts getting obvious what's what.
Yeah, you don't really want that.
You're gonna do it subtly.
Yeah. And then we're back to New York City, where the Young Avengers and the Initiative are getting the crap beaten out of them by the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Yeah.
And Vision, again, I thought Vision got killed here because he gets like a purple laser beam through his head. You're like, oh, okay. But no, he doesn't get killed. And then the Secret Warriors show up, which is Nick Fury and his gang of mutants, magics, and Inhumans and gods, I guess.
So the Howling Commandos 209, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Because one of them is Ares' son, Phobos, the god of fear. He's pretty cool. Yeah. You got Yo-Yo, if you've watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know about her. She's a speedster. Quake, again from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the other two, I have no idea who they are. Yeah.
Look, this story has a lot of characters, and you're like, sometimes you don't even know who they are.
Yep.
That's because they're trying to use a large roster, you know, you can't.
Yeah, because I know.
It kind of assumes you know certain things about, at least certain characters, or the rest of the unrecognizable ones.
Because I know two of them, the other two guys in Secret Warriors, appear in Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And I know one of them's the son of Dr. Druid, if I'm correct. I can't remember which one it is. Probably one of the Hood. Yeah. Who does magic. And that was the end of issue 3, you know. The introduction of the Secret Warriors. Then issue 4, we're moving on to, starts with Reed Richards being stretched by lots of different machines owned by the Skrull. You're like, oh, that's not weird.
Yeah.
And we see a load of Skrull ships heading towards Earth. And the Agents of S.W.O.R.D. just in these sort of protective bubbles floating in space.
Yeah.
And then we're back to seeing Sentry flying off into space crying.
Yeah.
And Captain Marvel kind of flies past him like, okay, sure. And carries on to the fight. Make it sound a lot worse than it is. Yeah. So she joins the Young Avengers and Initiative fighting the Skrulls. And Secret War's fighting the Skrulls. And she's like, hey, Fury, I thought you was dead. He's like, nah, girl, I've been about. So he's like, sure, okay.
Yeah.
And the Secret War's sort of like introducing themselves in this part to the people who don't know who they are.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I remember this guy. So they all, Fury and the Secret Warriors collect all her Initiative members and the Secret Avengers. And Carol was like, hey, Fury, are you going to help me? And one of the Secret Warriors was like, hey, Fury, shouldn't we help her? He's like, nah. A Skrull's a Skrull and shoots her. And she gets left to be captured by the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's cool. Then we're back at the Savage Land where we see Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, standing with war paint on her face.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know if she got dirty from the soil or whatever it is. Yeah. Right. But yeah.
Yeah, and she's like listening to Spider-Woman try and cohorts Tony into joining her.
Yeah.
And then Natasha's like, pops out. Oh, sorry. Spider-Woman, before I go on, reveals Tony Stark's real Skrull name, which is, I can't even pronounce that, Kariki Dula. Yeah, Dulu, sorry. And like, Natasha's like, nah, dog. But before she pulls out her gun and starts shooting, you see Phoenix and Beast come out. Oh, Natasha, my star and garters, what's going on? She's like, I ain't falling for this. Starts shooting them.
Yeah.
Kills them both. And then, obviously, Spider-Woman hears the gunshots. So she leaves.
Yeah, she runs off.
Yeah. And Natasha's like, Tony, you need to get yourself together. I was like, no, I'm a Skrull. And she's like, Tony, you're not a Skrull. He's like, but I am. I'm pretty sure I am. She's like...
And then she's like, look, shut up. I'm going to give you some adrenaline, right?
Yeah, cut the crap.
You're going to give you a shot of adrenaline. And don't make me smack you.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Get in line. I mean, no, wake up. What's wrong with you?
And then she's like, you're not Skrull or not. I'm asking you right now, do you want to kill me or them? And he's like, them. She's like,
and then,
good.
Is this when Wolverine appears?
Yep.
And when there's like, Wolverine,
bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, take some of this.
Yeah.
Take some of these bullets to you. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, okay, we thought you were a Skrull.
Yeah, he goes, give me the word. Like, give it to me. It's like carrot sticks. Like, oh, there we go.
Which is funny because you're like, I don't know if it's a Bendis thing or it's just a random words where you're thinking, you know what? Okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Right. I don't know if they do have code words like that, but something random like that is actually you can buy it.
Yeah, you're like, oh. Okay.
But then also, why? So she's shooting the Skrull. Yeah. Example, if she thought it was a Skrull.
Yeah.
They duplicate people's powers. So why would they not be able to heal as well? Like if they duplicate Wolverine's powers? And then does that mean that if there's a Black Widow that's a Skrull, she actually had no powers?
But
or does she still have Skrull-based powers?
I think these Skrulls are not like the warrior Skrulls that we've seen. I think they just mimic appearance.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they can't. They mimic. All their stat points are put into camouflage. Yeah. And that's why you can't tell them from normal humans.
Yeah. And hence why she killed Phoenix with a bullet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then we're back in space where Agent...
No. First, I want to point out that Natasha says, from now on, I'm more like, shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah. And Wolverine's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Good thing I can heal. And then Tony's like, yeah, we need to get to New York and find Reed because he can help us out. And I need to reboot my armor. Oh, okay, cool.
Hold on. Just before the showdown with, Kaza and his female cohort.
No, that's later on.
Okay, yeah.
And then we are back in space where Agent Abigail Brand of S.W.O.R.D. manages to float her way to a Kree ship and get in. And she goes into a TV room. That's what it looks like. and she sees everything that's going on Earth. She's like, oh. Then in one of the screams, she sees Reed. She's like, okay, I'm going to find him.
Yeah.
But then she's snuck up upon by, I thought it was a child scroll and a soldier, because of it's small, but
Yeah.
And then we're back at the Helen carrier where Jarvis is still trying to convince Maria Hill to, surrender, and she's like, "No, I've got people that will kill you right now." I was like, "Well, that's what you think." So some of the Shield agents turn to Skrulls, and he's like,
"Yeah,
I'm just waiting for you to surrender. I can do this all day," sort of thing. Yeah. Then we're back in Brooklyn, where this is where we see some villains in a fancy apartment, and they're like, "We should go out and do something." And then, no, sorry, one of them was like, "Wow, this is weird," and the Hood's like, "Oh, we should go out and do something," and one's like, "No, it's none of our business." And he goes, "Well, no Earth means no business, right?" So like, oh yeah, good point. Get everyone. So the villains are,
I think at this point they're trying to make it the Hood's actually a viable threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what happens next, isn't it? Because he becomes like a big deal for a bit. Yeah. And then we're in Central Park, and the Skrulls are creeping up on some humans, normal civilians, about to kill them. And then we see a big lightning bolt come down, and like, boom! And like, oh wow, that's cool. And then we see a silhouette of Thor.
Yeah.
And we also see someone wearing red gloves looking through binoculars, and then we see a run-in image of that person, and it's a Captain America shield. Like, ooh, who could that be?
Yeah.
And that's the end of issue 4. See, this is good. It's quite quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got quite excited seeing Bucky Cap, because he's my favorite Cap. And then issue 5 starts with Norman Osborn talking to Captain Marvel, saying, "You seem confused. I kind of know how that is. There's voices in your head telling you to do one thing and you want to do another. I can relate to that. But you got to ask yourself this. Do you want to kill people? You don't," sort of thing. Like, he's like, "I know were you a sleeper agent?" And this is when this Skrull kind of thinks, oh yeah, I am. Hey, that's not cool. And
and the thing is, I was like reading it, and I was like, how does Norman know? The way Norman's saying stuff is as though he knows stuff. Except that you're thinking, right, is he just chatting crap because he's Norman Osborn trying to find an angle?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or is he actually legit know?
I think it's a bit of both. I think he knows something, and because he's got his whole mental issues stuff.
Yeah. But you were like, you're thinking, he sees the Skrull invasion, and he sees this guy beating up his team, and you're thinking, right, so logically, this guy could be a Skrull, right? And if he is, all right, he made a deduction. Whether it's the right or wrong one, okay, fine. All right.
That's cool. And so he basically, like, the man used appearance you've taken.
May I point out, by the way, he did not seem to think, my team is a whole bunch of supervillains that were pretending to be heroes, and maybe this Captain Marvel worked it out, and that's why he's fighting us. No, he's like, maybe he's a Skrull.
Exactly, yeah. Don't think of it that way. Then he's like, the man that you've taken the appearance of was a protector, a man of honor, and you need to be that, so you need to go and protect the world. And he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, okay. And the guy flies off, and then Penance, aka Speedball, and a lot of Thunderbolt soldiers come in, like, "So what happened?" He's like, "We're under attack. Gather the Thunderbolt team and go and get Gorgon. He's somewhere. We don't know where he got thrown to. And shoot anyone who's out of character." He's like, "Okay, cool. So what happens, sir?" He's like, "We're at war." And like, "Oh, Osborn's joining the fight. Woo, cool, okay." Then we're back at Elsewhere, which is, I'm guessing, some secret Fury bunker. And Cassie's waking up, and the new Young Avengers basically explain to her, Fury saved us, and we're at his bunker. We need to find out what's going on. And they're all yapping, trying to get information, and Fury's like, "Shut up.
Yeah.
It's happening. We're getting invaded." And then this is where we get a broadcast from the Skrull invaders saying, basically, like, your planet's crap and you've ruined it, but if you let us control you, will rule you, everything will be better, and he loves you so much. But this page is pretty cool, art-wise, but then it kind of dates the comic at the same time. Because of like the celebrities it uses and stuff, you're like, wow, in about 2 years, these celebrities will be anything. And then we're back on the Skrull spaceship with Abigail Brand, who has been found out that she's not actually a Skrull. So she's like, oh, screw this, kills the 2 guards, and then goes through the ship just killing people on her way to
Well,
find
you know
Reed.
what? She is actually quite efficient and deadly.
So she kills everyone, finds
She's just
Reed.
like a green-haired Maria Hill.
Yeah, basically the space version.
Yeah.
I think she's like half mutant, half Kree, if I remember correctly. I just can't remember.
Is she half Kree? I know she was half mutant. Because she was an X-Men, Astonishing X-Men.
Well, I'll find out in a minute. But yeah, so she finds Reed and breaks him out of his restraints. And he wakes up like, where's my kids, you dirty Skrull? I'm going to kill you. And...
Oh, yeah, no. So this is why... Okay, so there's a little bit you missed, but that's why Reed is acting this way. She... Abigail Brand does she does all sorts of research on whatever, right?
Yeah.
The translator and stuff. So she can speak a bit of Kree, and she used that to her Skrull. She used that to her advantage because the Skrulls come in and say, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I am whatever." How dare you question me? I'm your superior officer. Give me that damn gun, right? And then she shoots them.
That's cool. I was like, good at her.
And that's, I think, it's near the vicinity of wherever Reed is captured. So he immediately assumes that because she's speaking Skrull on the Skrull spaceship, even though he probably, there was a little kerfuffle, he don't know what's going on. All he knows is this person might be a Skrull.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And then so he gets all angry and he realizes because she didn't revert her form after he choked her out, she is not a Skrull. I was like, okay, I guess. And then we get this cool little sequence back on the heli character where Maria Hill says some long monologue saying like, you're never gonna win basically, and I'm gonna buy a t-shirt. If I survive this, I'm gonna get a t-shirt that says something. And the Jarvis Skrull's like, you're just buying time. Surrender. She's like, no, but when I do, so he's like, screw this. And they all shoot her, and they find out that she's a life model decoy. You're like, cool, she's hilarious. So
even though real life Maria Hill probably would have wound him up to the point, as we know from her personality, that you would want to kill her. Yeah. When she did get killed by someone, you're like, you know what? That's actually smart. Rather than thinking at last she got what she deserved. It's like, what? And
then she said the secret word to blow up the helicarrier. I was like, that's a bit extreme. What about the other?
Yeah, but I have to say for this portrayal of Maria Hill, that's quite cunning actually.
Yeah. It's okay. Like, if you don't think about it, it's cool, because I thought a bit way into it, but wasn't there humans on that helicarrier she blew up, or did she know they all were Skrull? This is weird, sort of. But
you start thinking about it, you start poking out holes.
Yeah, it's like,
wait a minute,
what am I thinking this? Yeah. And then we're back on.
But then again, I'm going to point out this Maria Hill, not MCU Maria Hill, right? Yeah. Classic Maria Hill, classic Marvel Universe Maria Hill, who would probably actually do something like that anyway.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then we're back on the Scree spaceship, and Space Maria Hill, Abigail Brand, is like, Reed, we need to get back to Earth. And he's like, yeah, sure, but you gotta fly, I've gotta create something to help us, basically, what he's saying, but doesn't say. Yeah. But they're getting shot at by the Skrulls until angry, quote-unquote, Captain Marvel helps him. Don't know if he does it intentionally or what. He just flies through one of the ships, helping them. And Maria Hill... Sorry, why keep going on Maria Hill? Abigail Brand and Reed fly off back to Earth. Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool. Well, look, let's point it out this way. The only distinguishing thing between Maria Hill and Abigail Brand at this point is that one of them has green hair, long green hair, the other has short brunette hair.
Pretty much, yeah. Then we're back on a Savage Land where there's another little showdown between possible Skrulls and non-Skrulls, but Kazar and his girlfriend, who I forget her name.
I don't know. I can't remember.
It's like Zondor or something. I can't remember. Something weird.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What are you doing in Savage Land?" Basically.
But this is where they're having a showdown with Black Widow. I think Wolverine is there.
Yep. Black Widow, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Luke Cage, and Ronan, and Mockingbird.
Right, and then here's the thing, right? So Wolverine, you saw a dead body of a Spider-Man previously, right?
Yep.
So by that logic, when you say that this Spider-Man is the real deal,
but you never know because they all got split up. Another Skrull could have just took his identity.
Oh, okay. That by that logic, right? I was going to go for the logic that Wolverine is actually thinking that both Spider-Man could have been Skrulls.
Yeah.
Because maybe that Spider-Man replaced was a Skrull, from the past, right? In the spaceship. But this Spider-Man might also be a Skrull because he might have been replaced at some point we don't even know. So, yeah. But you applied a different sort of logic for it, yeah. And we both kind of like try to headcanon our way into the why Wolverine did not point out that Spider-Man was actually a legit Spider-Man.
Yeah, because I think someone questions him. He's like, okay. And then all of a sudden, Emma Frost, Jem, and Miss Marvel turn up, and Emma Frost is like, I'm Emma Frost from the White Queen of the Hellfire Club, and I can read your mind, I can see into your souls, and some of you are fake and all this stuff. And Luke Cage's like, I've had enough of this. I don't care anymore. Just want to go home. And then they're all about to have another fight again until the spaceship containing Abigail Brand and Reed Richards appears, and there's a purple shot from the sky, and the beam basically turns all the Skrulls back to their normal forms. And they're like, no, this cannot be. It's a trick. It's a trick. And my boy Ares is like, nah, dog, and starts killing them. And
let me point out, Ares, whether it's a trick or not, he just wants to fight. He's just going to say whatever he's going to say just to continue the fight.
I just love this guy. He was my favorite character at this point in the comics. And then Clint's like, Bobby, go to the... and he turns around and he finds out that she's a Skrull. And he's like, wait, what? He's like, what's going on? So he takes Natasha's gun, just kills every Skrull that's there.
Yeah.
And then...
Which is quite sad, by the way, because you're like, what Mockingbird was, and you're like, they had their moment, and she seems so real.
Yep.
And then,
like, oh, poor Clint. He's gone for a bad year.
Yeah.
And then they all regroup, and they're like, we need to go back. We need to go to New York, and save everyone, because that's where the main invasion is. And Clint's like, you know what? What I'm going to do, I'm going to kill every single one of them until they're all dead. Like, okay. That's not his exact words, but that's basically what he says.
Yeah. And
that's the end of issue 5. Then we move on to issue 6, where it starts with Novell, aka Marvel Boy, flying on a Shield flying bike, which is weird because I'm pretty sure Marvel can fly, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's a big crash, and he's like, "What the hell's that?" And it's Skrull Captain Marvel, and he's like, "You're Marvel, right?" And the Kree one's like, "What's your name, soldier?" And he's like, Novell, what happened?" He's like, "The Kree Empire, they've taken this Earth, and we can't let this happen." And he's like, Marvel Boy's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "This world's not mine, but listen to me. You got to do everything you can to save this world. Those Skrulls, they have no honor. They're terrible. We got to bring honor to our Kree people, and you need to learn, Marvel Boy, that you have to be the guy that stops them." And Marvel Boy's like, "Huh? Okay, cool. I guess, sure."
Yeah.
Then Captain Marvel reverts back to a Skrull and dies. I'm like, okay, cool. And then we get the Kree overlords on TV saying that they're basically gonna let humans live normally, but if they follow the Kree way, they'll be better people. They're not gonna kill anyone unless they have to. And we see different clips of Skrulls fighting the X-Men in San Francisco, fighting the Inhumans on Attilan. Black Panther fighting some Skrulls in Wakanda. Images of Kazar's girlfriend just standing there, which drawn sexy for no reason.
Yeah.
And the Middle Eastern superhero team, I can't remember what they're actually called, fighting the Skrulls.
Yeah.
And then we see the Skrulls have taken over Camp Hamilton, where the initiative is, and they're going over their plan about what they're going to do. And Skrull Hank Pym's like, the Emperor shouldn't have got involved in this so much, you know, if something happens to her, what we're going to do. And then the Empress comes and goes, oh yeah, it's going all according to plan. We're doing great. And one of the Skrulls like, one Skrull's like, oh, Reed Richards escaped. Why did we keep him all this time, you know? He's like, oh, we needed him because without him, we wouldn't be able to get this far. They're like, cool.
We need a person who knows us better than ourselves.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah.
Whatever they wrote, just convenient to keep him alive because they know they can't kill him for plot reasons.
Yeah.
Not even plot reasons, for like, you know, actual Marvel continuity.
Yeah. So you're like, okay, cool. They come and explain what they've done, why they kept them alive, and then Skrull Hank Pym brings up that they've got a secret weapon as long as the Wasp is still alive. And you're like, okay, cool.
And from this point, you're meant to infer that Wasp is still an undercover Skrull. Well, Wasp is supposed to be an undercover Skrull.
Yeah.
But then, when you next see her appearance, she doesn't act like it. So you're like, huh.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah,
Is she deep cover? Who knows exactly?
Yeah. Is she like a sleeper cell agent? She doesn't even know that she is one until something happens. Yeah. And then we see
what they call it? The Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah, basically, yes. Keyword and boom, she's killing everyone.
Yeah.
And then we see all the Avengers flying back to New York on the ship, and Spider-Man makes a joke, and Nick Cage is like, really making a joke at this point? And Spider-Man's, it's not, well, I try. It's not really a joke, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then
give me a break. I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah, pretty much.
I do all sorts of nutty things.
And then Tony Stark is just still beside himself, saying that it's his fault all this has happened because he brought Jessica into the Avengers, so it's her fault.
Yeah.
And then Janet's like, no, it's not your fault. None of us would have been able to tell anyway, so you know, we just got to get this job done and get rid of the Skrulls. So they land at New York.
Yeah.
But before that, we see these stupid teenagers who are sort of like down with the fascism. Just join the Skrulls, yay! Skrulls are cool. Then the Skrulls are about to kill them.
It's got embrace the change. We could be Skrull slaves or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, not Skrull slaves. Because that sounds a bit too. No. We like embrace you into our society.
Yeah.
You know. You are the next coming of whatever it is, and then the Skrull looks at him like, "I'm gonna murder you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna murder you,
child."
Yeah.
And then Nick Fury, the Secret Avengers, and Young Avengers, and what's left of the Initiative turn up to save the kids.
Yeah.
And while this is all going on, the Hood and his criminal empire are all watching, like, we'll join in when the time is right.
Yeah.
And then the Secret Warriors have finished their fight, and then they see lightning, and then we see our boy Thor just striking lightning down at people. Yeah. And this is where Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman's like, gather the troops, you know, this might be the final push. And this is where Captain America, Bucky, and Thor meet for the first time. Because Thor's like, who are you supposed to be? He goes, who do I look like? And then they have a little back and forth. Like, Thor asks Bucky, like, the man I knew, the person who wore this uniform before was Captain America. He was like one of the greatest heroes of all time. And you're not him. And then Bucky's like, well, you're dead. You're like, status quo thing. And then the Avengers land and they're like, oh, what's Thor doing here? I assume you're Thor. And it's like, it's him. So he summons them all to battle, which is pretty cool. And we see the Skrulls all ready to battle the humans.
Yeah.
And Reed's like, "Oh, you killed my family. You're gonna pay." She's like, "Oh, you should have done that before. You know, you should have thought of that before you turned our brothers to cows, because that's how the whole beef originates." From the 60s. We're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Then the Thunderbolts join in, and Matt Gorgon jumps down and goes, "But Osborn, Spider-Man's here." And he's like, "The scrolls are the target. Stay focused." And they have a little showdown where they're talking about killing the scrolls, and the scrolls like, "No, you got to bow to your knees, and your planet will be a better place because he loves you." And then Spider-Man's like, "Who's he?" And she's like, "God." And this is one of my favourite lines in the book, because Nick Fury goes, "Well, my God has a hammer. Right, yeah. Avengers, assemble!" And then the last two pages of this issue is just splash.
Yeah.
Splash page of the fight. Really good issue.
Yeah.
Then we move on to issue 7, which is just a huge fight issue. Really, I can't really say much else.
Yeah.
Going on, like,
yeah.
I think, everyone getting their quips in. Really, finding bits that are pretty worth talking about. Cause it's just fights.
Actual story involved. Yeah, let's put it that way, because it's pretty good, but. What it is sometimes, it's like action and not much story happening.
Yeah, it's not till like halfway through where the story sort of happens.
Yeah.
Where Spider-Man makes a joke about, it can't be that bad because, the Watcher hasn't come to watch or anything. And then he turns, as he's saying that, him and Iron Fist look up and the Watcher's in the sky, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
This is pretty bad then. The fight's carried on. While that's going on, Jessica Jones is watching from the Avengers Towers like, I need to be out there to help them because, what good am I here if the planet's dying? So she goes to Jarvis, "Can you hold my baby?" Basically, he's like, "Yeah, sure. Go do your thing, girl."
Yeah.
So she flies off to go and help, and Iron Man flies back to the mansion. He's like, "Oh, what's that?" It's her flying off to go and help. And then back at the fight in the battleground, as a big explosion happens, and this is where Marvel Boy comes and shows that he's going to help by saying, "My name is Nova. I am a Kree warrior, and in the name of Captain Marvel, in the name of the Kree Empire, I tell you invading hordes that the fight is over." So he joins the fight. So they get another power boost, the good guys. Nick Cage is about to get beaten up really bad, and Jessica Jones helps, and he's like, "Oh, baby, what are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, you know me, I'm an enigma wrapped in a riddle." He's like, "Oh, that's why I married you." A little more playful banter. He's like, "Oh, this is cute."
Yeah.
Another little story beat. Kate Bishop gets hurt really bad, and Vision's like, "Oh, she's barely breathing." So Clint's like, "Get her out of here." Picks up a bow and goes, "I've got it from here," and he kills a crap ton of scrolls with his arrows. Oh, that's pretty cool. Then he takes one shot and gets Jessica Drew Scroll Lady through the jaw.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man stabs her as well. Sorry, it's not Spider-Man. Wolverine stabs her, and Kree Hank Pym's like, "Oh no, our queen. It's time for me to do our secret weapon." And Janet Van Dyne starts going all weird. She's like, "Oh, what is this? What's going on?"
Yeah.
Then we get a flashback where he's going, "Oh, his anniversary present." It's like, "For what? Just a present?" "Oh, I've come up with this new formula that if you ever need to become Giant Woman, you can do it by using this formula." She's like, "Oh, thank you. That's cool." But there's a twist. It was actually a negative bomb that he's planted on her.
I don't know, some sort of genetic nuke or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not really explained, but it looks cool.
Yeah,
and we see Jarvis holding baby Danielle, saying, "Now they'll understand that we're gonna win, and the prophecy will come true." And it ends with Janet glowing purple, the Watcher in the background, and all the heroes look like they're having like severe headaches. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
Yeah. It is something that's happening. That's all we know.
That's all we know. And then we move on to the final issue, issue 8, where it starts with all the heroes being hurt from the migraine bomb, I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
But while this is going on, like, there's a monologue going on between, we don't know who, telling everyone about the events that's going on that day. And then Thor's like, you know what? I need to sort this out before we all die. So he starts spinning his hammer. I don't know exactly what he did, but whether he did got all the negative energy that Janet was going to explode onto the earth, I'm guessing, and it participates, which is explained later on.
Well, okay, the way I saw it was he blasted with a lightning bolt.
But there's no lightning bolt.
Yeah, well, like, I think he caused the Shazam lightning bolt to come down and blew her up.
Because I thought that he got the Bifrost, but when you look at her in the panel, there's like a hurricane. Yeah, because if you look at her in the panel, there's a hurricane going around there, so I don't know. I thought it was the Bifrost.
I just assumed that he did the, like when he teleports. Because of the hurricane, whatever.
But they explain this in a comic a couple years later when she comes back, but I can't remember it.
Yeah, okay. So, whether it's a retcon or not at that point, but at this point, it just looked like Floor blasted her with whatever lightning bolt that he created. Yeah.
And then they're all like, "Oh no, not my friend Janet." And,
because he said something like, "Oh,
I will avenge you."
Yeah.
And then we see Skrull, Jessica Jones, Drew. There's to me Jessica getting up, like getting her appearance back together, and she is welcomed by a bunch of heroes, angry looking at her because they just killed a friend. And Daredevil's there, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And then Wolverine's about to go in for the kill. And...
May I point out, by the way?
Yep.
That's probably the Danny Rand Daredevil, right?
No, because Iron Fist was in this.
Oh, right. Yep. So you're telling me, you're telling me this scroll tech was so advanced that even Matt Murdock couldn't tell them apart, right?
Yeah.
But then again, sometimes the hand have such good training that Matt Murdock cannot even use his enhanced senses to work out where they are. So, whatever.
Yeah. And then Wolverine's going to go in to kill her, but then we see a purple beam like blow her head off. And we're like, ooh, what's that?
Yeah.
And it's Osborn who took the shot. Yeah. He's like, Thunderbolts, make sure none of the weasels get away.
Taking all the glory.
Yep. Then Iron Man comes back in his Mach 2 armor. He's like, I had to use an old armor that is not connected to the Stark network. So let's go and destroy all these ships and stuff. So they go take out a lot of warships. Pretty cool. So basically bring the war to an end. So it's all done. But Iron Man flies up and he finds one spaceship like, hey, this is weird. So he brings it back down to Earth. And the spaceship opens and it's everyone who's been taken as a scroll in the spaceship. So you got Hank Pym, Sue Richards, Mockingbird, Elektra, Spider-Woman, Dum Dum Dugan, and some others. Jarvis, as well, yeah. And everyone's like, Carol's like, Jessica, you're alive. How are you doing? And she comes out and is like, why is everyone looking at me so weird? It's like, I'll better tell you later, because this is awkward. Then we see all the villains. They're like, we better go before, they decide to turn on us.
Yeah.
And Hank Pym comes out and he's like, Tony, it's you. How you doing? It's like, Hank, I'm glad that you're alive. Thor, you're alive. Cool. Everything's cool. And he's like, where's Janet? And like, ooh.
Yeah, we're going to talk a bit later.
And Tony's happy to see Jarvis. And then Jessica's like, wait. Jessica Jones this time's like, wait. If Jarvis is there, then who's got my baby? So she flies off back to Avengers Tower, look for the baby. Yeah. Carol takes Luke there, and they're like just searching for baby. Like, where's my baby? Who took my baby? Then there's a weird little bit with Dum Dum Duke and some woman. I don't know who this woman is.
I'd like to say it's Contessa, whatever, Valentina, whatever, but I don't actually know.
Yeah.
I'm just putting names to faces that I don't actually know if it's her or not.
Yeah, you might be right. Who knows?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, Nick, how's it going? He looks at him and like, ugh, and just teleports him and Secret Warriors away.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, maybe he didn't see us. And then Dum Dum's like, no, he saw us. He's just being a dick.
He definitely, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's just being as he would. He's just standard Nick Fury.
Yeah. And then we see Mockingbird in the spaceship talking to a SHIELD agent, trying to like sort something out. And then she comes out and she's like, oh, Clint, what the hell? And he's like, Bobby, it's you.
Yeah.
You look great. You look terrible. And they embrace and kiss. I'm like, oh, that's cute. And then while this was going on, Reed finds Sue and like, oh, Sue.
Yeah.
Oh no, our kids. So they go running back to the building, and we find out that Johnny and Ben saved the kids and that by going to an escape room sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
they're trying
really
to.
cool.
Funny thing is with Ben and Johnny, they have no technical know-how whatsoever.
Yeah.
But they're trying to work out this device.
Yeah. It's quite
And they're
funny.
like, they must have stalled it somehow because they're like, they're still alive.
Yeah. So they're all happy that the kids actually ain't dead.
I just see. I do believe it's Franklin Richards just coloring a drawing book.
Yeah, like nothing happened. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, kids are hilarious.
Yeah.
And then after the battle, Tony Stark walks up the phone like, Thor, you're alive. Oh, that's great. I need to talk to you. Maybe finally come back and join us. Thor's like, Tony, you stupid human. I've already told you that I have no intention of joining you. I'll never fight alongside you again. And I'll never join your ranks. And then basically just blames Tony for everything that's going wrong on Earth at this point and Captain America's death. And then he flies off. And then he looks at Bucky, Captain America, and Bucky just like walks away.
Yeah.
And then we see the Young Avengers and Marvel Boy with some Skrull hostages, and Hulklin's like, you know what? These ain't Skrulls. These are terrorists. Because I don't know much about my people, but they wouldn't do something like this. Yeah. And then this we kind of find out that the Skrulls don't have a planet anymore, and they're basically refugees. Like,
yeah. That's the story they give, anyways. I don't know, whether it's.
Oh, it's true. That's true.
I don't know, but at this point they're looking for. They're like, instead of they could have just come and said that, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead, they're like, yo, we're just going to invade your planet and infiltrate, and then enact our plan to take it over.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of saying, yo, if you helped us, we didn't need to do none of this.
Yeah. Because if I remember correctly, though, this is the religious zealot part of the Skrulls, because actually other Skrulls ain't involved in this. These are the nutcase ones that came and done it. Yeah.
Right.
And then we're at the White House, and we see speech bubbles of like someone saying, "Oh yeah, Tony's basically not in charge anymore, and he couldn't run a tight ship, so he's out, and we're gonna give a new shield." And like, no, Shield's dead and dusted. We can have something more modern, something more new. Yeah. And then we find out that Osborn is now the leader, is the head of Shield / Hammer.
Yeah. I think he's pretty cool. He's calling it Hammer.
Yeah.
Do you know what that stands for, by the way?
Something. It doesn't stand for anything, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he goes, I couldn't find him any. Hammer sounds good, and I couldn't find him any acronyms. I was like, fair enough.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I was like, that's hilarious.
Okay.
And then this is where Tony Stark fans are like, oh, I'm not head of Shield anymore. Yeah. And we see Osborn going into Avenger Tower, and then he goes into a secret room, and he's like, okay, where do we start? And he sees the cabal of evil, which is Namor, Emma Frost, Doctor Doom, himself, Woman Loki, and the Hood. And that's where it ends, setting up Dark Reign.
Yeah. May I also point out, I do like it that Hammer doesn't actually stand for anything.
No.
But it's typical normal Osborn to do.
Yep.
To be like, okay, so there's two things. you didn't say, I forgot to point out. But when Reed Richards come back for the main fight, and he got ambushed by all sorts of invisible women.
Oh yeah.
From wearing different costumes, and you're like, okay, cool, right? And then she's wearing her various costumes, and then she wears that very flesh showing costume that she has with the cutout for on her chest, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you jokers know this notorious costume here, and you bring it out. Good on you, you're a bunch of jokers.
Well, everyone hates, but
And then there's the one bit, so kind of part of the story is from way back when the Skrulls first came to Earth.
Yeah.
And the Fantastic Four were dealing with them. I can't remember what issue Fantastic Four was, but one of the early issues, like I think the first 5 issues. Skrull invasion, and then he turned how they resolved it was they turned the Skrull into cows.
Yeah.
Right? And then I think Spider-Woman points out here that Mr. Fantastic, you of all people can't say jack about anything, right? You thought it'd be funny to turn our people into like farm animals, So whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
You deserve what's coming to you.
It's a joke.
But it's neat how they tie the continuity of that, because it's just like that was actually kind of out of order at the same time.
Yeah.
They had to resolve the actual issue at hand for that story. So, yeah.
So, after reading this as your first time reading it, what did you think?
It's fun. It's fun. Like I was saying before, like there's a lot of characters in here, and you're like, all right, they're just minor, right? And it doesn't really concentrate on the people that aren't written by Bendis at the moment, which is my Avengers and the new Avengers, or whatever.
Yeah.
It starts like in the middle of it, so kind of done with a recap, and it ends kind of like something's happening, and the adventure continues, but we're not going to give you any actual conclusion.
Yeah.
Right. All right, fair enough. What happened to Jessica Jones's daughter?
Oh, I can't. Again, I knew this, but I was reading this the second time. Well, I say third time, whatever time I've read it. I was like, I can't remember what happens.
But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't conclude. It's not a story that concludes in itself and extend. Is it a story that continues in another Avengers story or in another crossover or whatever?
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
But look, it's cool. It's a cool story, right?
Yeah.
And it's an all-action story. And it moves fast.
Yeah.
It's a good artwork as well. Like, it's a good set of compliments that you could give it. But I thought, as per the title, you would have thought it'd be like an invasion that's happened. Like they've already infiltrated, and then you got the heroes going, something's wrong. Let's, and then you have to just kind of work out which members are of the high-ranking whatever Shield agents, however you want to put it, right? Are Skrulls or not? And you want to play like a suspense story, except this is not. This is an action story.
Yeah.
But yeah, they could. But I mean, I might prefer it if they went for a spy story. However, that would have been a lot more complicated because you're gonna have to throw enough breadcrumbs in other people's issues to narrow it down as well. And it'd be like, a whole mess.
Yeah. But
but it's quite enjoyable.
Yeah, it was this period of comics is quite interesting for me because they had long-term sort of every event sort of came from the other event, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Unlike now, it's sort of random, but yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay, what it is sometimes stuff concludes itself, right? But that's about it, you know?
Yeah.
It's not concerned with anything other than the story that they're telling.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sometimes a good thing and sometimes a bad thing.
I agree.
This could have been like, this was all right in itself, but it just kind of, some things were just left unexplained.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Though as marketing, I've got to say, it's good because then you have to start picking up everything else to work out to get the final conclusion. How many crossover issues did you end up buying to get the full story?
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Because like I'm looking at Wikipedia now, like seeing the tie-ins is quite a lot.
Yeah, and you bought them all?
Yeah.
You read them?
Read them all.
Okay.
Well, not all of them. There's like, I don't think I've read the Black Panther one, or the Deadpool one.
Yeah.
Or apparently Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, there's a lot of them I didn't read, but I think I actually found something saying wants to read. So I read that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No. It's quite a fun, decent story. Quite good action adventure story.
Yeah.
Not really any bad things to say about it. You know, it references some stuff that happened way back when, and you're like, oh yeah, I can sense a continuity. Except that obviously whatever is happening in the storyline that's relevant is what's in continuity.
Yeah.
And sometimes things happen in someone else's comics that you're like, we're just gonna ignore that because that's gonna conflict with what we're doing.
It's gonna mess up what we done. Yeah. But yeah, okay. Glad that you enjoyed it. I'm glad I picked a good book for us to read.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's it was pretty cool. I don't, I have to say I don't even know why I missed it during that time period that it was out. But yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. How do you wonder the TV series is gonna go?
That I'm not too sure how it's gonna go.
Yeah. Because they haven't introduced. Well, they haven't introduced the Skrulls, but they kind of
haven't done it. How they've introduced the Skrulls ain't bad. They're good.
Well, this section of them are.
Yeah. So who knows? Be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, because you can't just suddenly have them turn bad for the sake of the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Which has happened, but then it's unnatural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Cool.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll find out at the end of the year, I think. Is it end of this year or next year? I don't actually remember.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Who knows exactly? Exactly.
Not me. So yeah, I guess that's it then. Yeah.
Yeah. So what thumbs up? You recommend people to read?
Yeah, I recommend people to read it. It's fun and easy to read.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, if there's nothing else to say, I have been the God of the Scrolls, Kyle Charles, and
I'm the member of the secret evil Illuminati, CY Chung. Yeah.
And let us know what you thought of the Secret Invasion, the hit.
Maybe I also just want to point out.
Yeah.
Right. I find it funny how Namor is in it both Illuminatis, the good one and the bad one.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, here's the thing with Namor, right? Is he a super double spy, or is it because he's so anti-hero that he can actually fall into both categories?
The thing is,
and Emma Frost is also there.
Yeah, but you find out she's a plant. She's doing it to infiltrate him.
Okay.
Spoiler. Right. But Namor, I just think because he only cares about himself, it doesn't really matter where he is.
Well, he's just probably looking out for the best himself, for Atlantis. So he'll just team up with whoever at the time. But I just find it's just funny.
Yeah, it's funny. He's a weird dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know if you enjoyed it, or if you're gonna read it, and let us know what you thought of it. Don't forget to like and tell your friends about this podcast. Follow our social media links.
Oh yeah. And by the way, I mean, like, we make fun of comics. We like comics. Yeah, it's a good story. You can always, it's not like if we hate it, we will make sure that we sound like we hate it. And there's plenty of things to hate.
Yeah, but
not about this story in particular, but
we're just making jokes of little things, but nothing serious. Yeah. We like stuff. All right. Yeah. So until next time, we'll catch you guys. Thanks for taking a trip around the multiverse with us.
Bye.
Bye.
Shield bases were hit hard worldwide by sleeper agents. We've got reinforcements coming in to secure the world's capitals.
The Baxter building was sucked into another dimension, but Invisible Woman was able to get in and help the Fantastic Four reverse it.
Brand was able to evacuate all the Sword personnel before the Skrulls took down Damocles Base. They're prepping a temporary base now to start the search for any Skrulls left on Earth.
I passed on my detection tech to their man, Sidron. They're mass-producing it now. They won't be able to hide.
What of these super Skrulls? Their power is great.
Agreed. We're holding them in a special section of 42 until we can figure out what to do with them.
So, bottom line, we just saved the world from an alien invasion. We won. Cap?
Yeah, we won. But not without paying a price. The Skrulls turned you against each other. Broken bones, destroyed buildings. These things are easily repaired. But broken friendships, broken trust, wounds such as these take much longer to heal.